Just for a moment, remember a good conversation with someone else. Time seems to fly by, and when you finish, you have a deeper understanding of either the other person or the situation you discussed. Conversely, think of a time when it's obvious the person you're talking to just isn't listening. Maybe they repeat something you just said without realizing it, or perhaps they were so distracted and not following the discussion at all. It is obvious when a conversation is meaningful and when it is not. At Thales Academy, teachers can use conversation in the classroom as a teaching method because it helps us determine quickly if a student is off task and not listening, or we can help to broaden and deepen a student's understanding of a particular topic. Thoughtful engagement and good discussion is one of the simplest ways to measure depth of understanding and attentiveness of a student. There are a few ways we practice conversation in the classroom. The most obvious is by the use of regular Socratic seminar. This is a formal academic conversation centered around discussion of a book, excerpt, or primary source that all the students have read in advance. A good seminar allows a student to move from appreciating an idea to being able to understand and articulate it for themselves. Seminar requires a teacher to guide the discussion with good questions and improvised interjections to move the conversation forward. The goal, though, is a conversation that flows naturally between the students as they discover for themselves the deeper truth contained in what they read. While we don't seminar every day, we do have the opportunity to engage students daily in conversation through the use of Socratic dialogue in the classroom, and in this way, the spirit of the seminar is preserved at all times. At any moment, a teacher should be asking a series of questions that forces a student to explain an answer, justify a conclusion, challenge an assumption, or make predictions or hypotheses about what is next. This type of questioning can be interspersed in a lecture. It can be used in response to things like required readings in literature, data in science, or primary sources in history. Typical questions a teacher will focus on are things like why, how do you know, what if, or if that's true, what does it imply? In this way, a teacher can hear what a student is thinking and distinguish knowing from understanding while helping the student practice the application of an idea. There is also a greater purpose served by conversation in the classroom, and that is to engage the student in what is known as the great conversation, based in the ongoing story of human thought and action that people have been discussing for the past 4,000 years. When we read and respond to great authors in history, we are conversing with them, discerning their answers to the great questions that life constantly asks each of us. These questions include, how do we know anything? What does it mean to live well or to be a good person? How do we handle pain and suffering? What does it mean to be human? And ultimately, what is the meaning of life? It is wrestling with the answers to these great questions that make us better people, students and teachers alike. And this is why conversation is essential to the mission of Thales Academy and classical educators everywhere. Thank you for listening. This is Matt Ogle for Thales Press.